Hey guys, it's Danny. Today we are talking all about mounted orchids. I'm going to show you how to mount an orchid, but also tell you why some growers decide to keep their orchids mounted, what are the pros and cons, and how to care for these orchids even in a home. Today's episode, along with our entire Orchid Care for Beginners series, is sponsored by repotme.com, who offers you everything you could possibly need to properly take care of your orchid. From media to fertilizer, pots, and all sorts of accessories. Some of the accessories that I will use in this care series and in today's video are provided by RepotMe, so I will link you to their website down below in the description. Feel free to visit them at any time. So with that said, let's start by explaining what is a mounted orchid. A mounted orchid is an orchid attached to a piece of wood generally, but not only. We can also have inorganic mounds such as ceramics, and I'm sure there are many other products available on the market such as water cylinders and all sorts of creative and safe items upon which orchids can actually grow on. Now, orchids can grow on these pieces of wood or cork because that's how normally or naturally they would grow in nature, in their natural habitat. Even hybrids can grow mounted because most probably their ancestors are epiphytic orchids that grow attached to tree trunks and branches. So the whole appeal of a mounted orchid is to recreate as close as possible the conditions these orchids would encounter in nature. Because not only when we grow orchids potted, we don't actually create the exact same conditions, but also we don't tend to grow these orchids positioned like they would position themselves in nature. Many orchid adaptations actually take into account the position they have on a tree trunk or a tree branch. So sometimes it can be a little bit more comfortable to grow these orchids in this manner. Keep in mind though, this doesn't mean this is the best or most ideal way of growing orchids, especially in a home, but definitely it gives you a glimpse in the nature of an orchid. You can see those roots starting to grab hold of the mount, and definitely it's really interesting to see an orchid just doing whatever feels natural to it. Orchid mounds can be found for sale at orchid nurseries or specialized orchid stores, such as RepotMe, but you can also DIY them if you find suitable wood. Now, when it comes to wood, you will have to find that type of wood which doesn't leach out resins or all sorts of damaging substances for the root system. So you'll have to do a little bit of research in that department, but at orchid nurseries or specialized stores, you will find mounds made out of safe pieces of wood, such as these ones. Cork, I do believe, is the most popular material for a mount, and you can find it in different sizes. I have a big one here, but obviously you can find smaller sizes as well. You can even find planks of wood, such as this one. I don't believe this is the most ideal mount because it doesn't tend to have a lot of ridges, so you will not see roots really grab a hold on. Roots much more prefer a more textured type of wood, but also you can find inorganic mounts such as clay mounts, and I have here two examples. A clay type of mount which tries to imitate a trunk of a tree. You can see it has a lot of ridges, and also some root remnants that I need to clean off, but you can see how well the roots attach to it. Now, even though we are trying to recreate, at least visually, how these orchids would naturally grow, there is a major difference between our mounds and a tree. These mounds degrade in time, and depending on the material, they can degrade faster or slower. Wooden mounds, whether they're planks or pieces of wood, tend to degrade pretty fast, depending how wet you are keeping the mount. You can have something like this degrade within 2 to 5 years or so. It really depends, whereas cork mounds are actually quite a lot more long-lasting. Cork doesn't actually absorb water, and because of this, you can have a cork mount for quite a lot of years. Being that it's organic, eventually it will degrade, but it will not do so very fast. And of course, the clay mounts never degrade, which means you can use and reuse something like this pretty much until you break it. Obviously, if you drop it on a hard floor, it might snap in a few pieces, so you have to be careful with that. But since it's an organic, obviously it will not break down. Now, this doesn't mean that the clay mounds are the best mounds, because they do have some drawbacks. One of them is accumulation of algae and also salts. If you've ever worked with clay pots, well, these guys kind of act the same way. They will absorb some water and retain water, which can be good for the orchid roots, but this also makes them prone to algae and salt deposits, which you can clean off. But if you have a lot of roots, you cannot really do so properly. Whereas a cork mount doesn't actually attract algae. It is not a surface that retains water or wicks water, so really algae and salt deposits don't have a good time on something like this. But other pieces of wood, such as a wood plank, definitely attract algae. Also, these types of mounts are super light, and as you can see, we typically hang them. If something like this falls on the ground, everything is okay. Whereas if a clay mount falls, it can hurt somebody, and also it can break, meaning that you need to unmount the orchid and replace the entire thing. So in my opinion, there is no such thing as an ideal mount. It's what you think works best for you and what your particular context is. If you know you have a lot of pets or children and you don't want to risk anybody getting hurt, definitely cork or wood is a much better way to go than these guys. But if you want to get a lot of use out of your mount and you can make sure you can keep it in a safe location, then this might be better for you. Displaying a mounted orchid is up to personal preference. You can see I have a stand here, which you would typically hang a glass orb from, but I'm using it as a display for my mounted orchid. But generally, people like to have a grid attached to a wall or a wire fence if they have multiple mounted orchids. If you're in a home setting, I believe something like this is a lot more showy and easier to place around your home, but obviously if you have a separate grow room or even a greenhouse, you might want to consider a wire fence of sorts. When it comes to cultural conditions, these orchids are no different than potted orchids. So if you have a highlight orchid, you should definitely give it highlight. If you have a worm growing orchid, then definitely you should keep it a worm, and so on and so forth. But the major difference, as you might expect, is when it comes to watering. These orchids definitely don't work on the same schedule as potted orchids. With potted orchids, we always talk about letting the medium dry out or being almost completely dry. Well, when it comes to mounts, these things don't really apply because mounts will generally be rather dry than wet. So the first requirement of mounted orchids is availability to water. A mounted orchid will be receiving water as long as it is actually soaking in water. When it's out of the water, the drying process starts, even if we have a little bit of sphagnum moss on the mount, as I will show you when we mount an orchid. For this reason, watering mounts is usually best done through soaking, having a separate container or a bucket depending on the size of your mount where you can actually soak the orchid. In this case, you will be prone to watering not only the root system, but also maybe the leaves or a little bit of the stems and rhizomes, which you'll have to be a little bit careful with. Mounted orchids are still at risk of crown rot and stem rot. Not as much as potted orchids because they are actually nowhere near wet medium that releases humidity in the air. So with these guys, evaporation is a little bit faster, but still I would recommend to remove water from the leaf joints whenever possible, especially in the living rooms or homes where there's no wind. Maybe you cannot refresh the air as often as you should. Maybe it's winter outside, so definitely we cannot compare the living room with the natural conditions of orchids. So it's still good to take precautions. Mounts can be soaked from 5 to 15 minutes depending what type of orchid you have. If you know you have a thirsty orchid, then you can let it soak for half an hour even. This will depend on the mount as well and what you have on the mount. Sometimes we like to put a little bit of sphagnum moss on the mount just to retain a little bit more water for longer, since these orchids are mainly sitting in the air. But for the main part, watering is done through soaking. This being said, there's nothing wrong with misting the roots, especially if you live in an environment which is rather cool or maybe very humid. There are people who really don't need to soak their mounts, and especially if you grow your mounts in a greenhouse, you can just hose them down. But if you have them in a room, you can actually get away with just misting a little bit the root system. But keep in mind, this will not deliver a lot of water. So if your environment is very dry or very warm, this amount of water will evaporate very, very fast. It might actually not be enough to completely hydrate the orchid. So again, watering will have to be adapted to the orchid you have, the mount you have, and also, of course, to your environment, just like with potted orchids. But it's not wrong to mist your orchid if you can get away with it. Again, I will remind you to be careful with leaf joints and crowns, especially if you cannot provide a lot of air movement to help with water evaporation. Water frequency will depend yet again on the orchid you have, the mount and what you have on the mount, and also environment. In some very, very, very warm and very dry environments, you could actually have to water a mount even twice a day. Generally speaking though, most people can get away with once a day watering. And this poses one of the major cons with growing orchids mounted, and why personally I choose to grow my orchids potted. If you have a lot of orchids, or you have a very busy life and you know you cannot be really on top of watering once a day, then keeping your orchids mounted might actually become a hassle. So the first thing you need to ask yourself before you go ahead and mount an orchid is, do I have time to water it? Because these babies really need water very, very frequently in comparison to potted orchids. This is why we actually resorted to growing orchids in pots in cultivation and especially in homes. It has nothing to do with how the orchids like to be grown. It has to do with our comfort, our availability, which indirectly reflect on our orchid's health. If we don't have time to water a mounted orchid, no matter how natural we are growing it, it will still suffer because it will probably be dehydrated the more we skip watering or we don't have time for it. But it is also true that mounted orchids don't really suffer from root rot unless the mount is completely decomposing or the sphagnum moss is very acidic, very sour and needs changing. There really is no reason for roots on a mount to rot. So if you know you cannot provide a very, very airy potted environment, then mounts might actually be a good idea for you. Just keep in mind watering. The most suitable orchids for mounting are epiphytic orchids such as Cattleyas, Dendrobiums, Phalaenopsis, Oncidiums, and other epiphytic species. If you're gonna try to mount a terrestrial or semi-terrestrial orchid such as a slipper orchid, you will find that you will probably not have a lot of success. These orchids tend to not create aerial roots. And P.S. we just talked about aerial roots in a previous Orchids Care for Beginners episode. Check it in an info card and also in the description below. So with something like this, mounting isn't actually ideal and most people don't actually even attempt it. But with epiphytic orchids which naturally grow on trees or rocks or branches, you can definitely have success with. So with that said, I think it's time to actually mount an orchid and see how to go about it. So first of all, just like with any repotting, we need to clean up the root system, which means removing the medium if the orchid has any medium attached to the roots, and also removing all of the dead roots. So I'm gonna cut away everything dead that I see on my orchid, which by the way, it is a Cattleya orchid, which is epiphytic and enjoys quite hot conditions. As much as possible, I'm also going to try and remove all of these bark pieces from the root system. If you cannot remove all of them, that's okay. But definitely if you're working with a ceramic mount that you want to last for a long time, it is a good idea to remove all of the organic medium. Now in time, the roots will attach to the mount and the orchid will be stable. But before that happens, we need to stabilize the orchid on the mount. And to do so, we have quite a few materials to choose from. We can use safe floral wire such as this one, raffia tape, jute twine as I think I will use today. But also for very tiny orchids, you can also use fishing line. This actually has the benefit of looking quite invisible, but you have to be very, very careful with fishing line because it can definitely cut the roots if you make it too tight. But if you ever purchase mounted orchids, I think you will see a combination of two different materials typically, and especially with these types of mounts, you can see we have two holes pre-drilled in it. Well, this is to further help you in stabilizing your orchid. You can actually run a wire through these two holes and tie it in the back like so, and already you have the beginnings of a very, very stable orchid. but most probably with wooden mounts you will not have these holes. So I'm not going to use them for the purpose of this video. As I was saying, some people like to add a little bit of sphagnum moss just to retain a bit more water around the root system. So the way to do that would be to place sphagnum moss directly on the mount, place the orchid on top of the sphagnum moss, and then add a little bit more moss on top of the roots, pretty much make a sandwich of sorts, and then tie the orchid on the mount. I will not do that today because I have a Camellia orchid, and for the purpose of actually showing you how to tie this mount, sphagnum moss is just a little bit in the way. But definitely you can use sphagnum moss on your mount. You can use less than I just showed you, again depending on the orchid and your environment. So I'll go ahead and place the older part of the orchid at the edge of the mount and the newest part towards the center, just like I would if I would have to pot it. So today I will use jute twine, but raffia tape would actually be a little bit better looking. I don't have it at the moment. So I will start by placing the twine on top of the roots and then flipping the mount and making a knot on the back side. Then I will flip the mount once again and wrap the longer side around the rhizome to stabilize the orchid and a little on the roots, bringing it back and making another knot. And this is the very short version of actually mounting an orchid. You can see it doesn't look very concealed, but that was not the purpose of the video. I want you to actually properly see the technique that I used. Obviously, you can do this with a much more concealed piece of thread. And when the orchid starts to attach to the mount, you can actually cut away this tape and let the orchid sit on the mount. I can also see that my orchid migrated a little bit. There we go. So for a while, until the roots start to take over the mount, it will look a little flimsy, but when new roots start to grow, they will actually attach to the mount. And here is the same orchid mounted a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, but you cannot actually see what I did. I went about it in the very same way, but I used fishing line, which is practically invisible, and also a little bit of sphagnum moss. And I also used a floral line through these middle holes. In the back, you can also hide the tag of your orchid, which is very important to have. And there you go, you have a mounted orchid. And this is about it on mounted orchids. Keep in mind that there's nothing wrong with growing your orchids potted, especially if you cannot actually water them every single day and you simply have a better time with them potted. But if you want to try out a mounted orchid, I definitely encourage you to try it. You will learn a lot, even if it's not going to be the most functional setup for you. I do believe it's a great experience to try out. This was a very quick general look on mounted orchids, but I do have other videos from the past with mounted orchids and my experience. You have them linked in the description if you're interested. And I also have a video on why I eventually gave up mounted orchids. But I'm definitely happy to have the experience. And if you ever wondered how to go about mounted orchids, I hope this video helped you out. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. Thank you RepotMe for sponsoring yet another Orchid Care for Beginners episode. Subscribe to my channel for more orchid videos, tutorials, experiments, updates, and other fun orchid subjects. If you wish to support the channel, do consider becoming a member or visit the merch store linked down below in the description. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. It's always nice to stay in touch there as well. And with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!